Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We were watching television the other day, and there was a town crier in the movie. And this town crier came marching down the street saying, Oyez, 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 says the town crier. What is the meaning of the word oyez, which is pronounced either oye or oyez or oh yes, depending on where you were raised? Officially, it is used there times in succession by the marshal of the court to introduce the opening of a court of law. Until the 18th century, people speaking English in a British court of law was not required. One could use law French, a form of French that evolved after the Norman conquest, when the Anglo-Norman became the language of the official class in England. Oyez descends from the Anglo-Norman oyez, the plural imperative of oyer, to hear. Thus, oyez means hear ye, and was used as a call for silence and attention. Although it would have been much heard in medieval Britain, it is first recorded as an English word fairly late in the Middle English period, in a work composed about 1425. Since this phrase worked so well in a court of law, the town criers used it to draw the attention of the mostly illiterate public to matters of importance. The criers or bellmen were usually people of some standing in the community, as they had to be literate enough to read and write proclamations. The crier would read a proclamation, usually at the entrance of the local pub or inn, then nail it to the doorpost, from which comes the expression posting a notice, as well as naming newspapers as the post. Women were often employed in spreading the news of items that had been lost, the arrival of fresh food at the market, or some piece of local intelligence. One such person was Beatty Dick of Dalkeith in Midlothian in the years 1693 to 1773. Beatty used a large wooden trencher that she hit with a spoon. The din was just about enough to stir the graveyard. The sound would rattle out at different places in town, causing crowds to assemble to hear the latest announcement, for which Beatty charged a sum of 1 penny. Every night she was employed to bawl out, "Tripe, piping hot, ready for supper the night at 8 o'clock at Jeannie Macmillan's, head of the North Wind. Gang home, bairns, and tell your folks about it. Oyez, oyez." I also found something interesting. It's called Hints on Etiquette from a bygone time. The rules are taken from a little book written in 1834 as a serious guide to good manners. It amusingly illustrates the customs of a bygone period. Although these remarks will not be sufficient in themselves to make you a gentleman, they will enable you to avoid any glaring impropriety, and to do much and will do much to render you easy and confident in society. At dinners, well-bred people arrive as near the appointed dinner hour as they can. It is quite vulgar to assume that you are of such importance to arrive half an hour behind times, besides the folly of allowing 8 or 10 hungry people such a tempting opportunity of discussing your foibles. Ladies should never dine with their gloves on, unless their hands are not fit to be seen. You cannot use your knife, fork, or teeth too quietly. Do not practice the filthy habit of gargling water from your finger bowl, albeit the usage prevails among a few. Bread should never be cut less than 1.5 inches thick. There is nothing more plebeian than thin bread at dinner. It's considered vulgar to take soup twice, and do not pick your teeth at table. If you're going to introduce people, never introduce anybody to anybody else without previous understanding that it will be agreeable to both. Do not insist upon pulling off your gloves on a hot day when you shake hands with a lady. If it be off, why, all very well, but it's better to run the risk of being considered ungallant than to present a clammy, ungloved hand. And when you visit, never leave your hat in the hall when you pay a visit to a lady. It makes you look too much at home. Take it with you into the drawing room. I'm really glad we don't have to follow all of those today, aren't you? Thank you so much. We'll do this again next week.